On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a middle-aged man carrying a black briefcase approached the Northwest Orient Airlines counter at Portland International Airport. He used the alias Dan Cooper and paid $20 in cash for a one-way ticket on Flight 305, a short trip to Seattle, Washington. To the witnesses, he looked like a typical businessman, wearing a dark suit, a crisp white shirt, a black tie, and an expensive-looking raincoat. He boarded the Boeing 727, took seat 18C, and quietly ordered a bourbon and soda while waiting for takeoff. No one in that cabin could have guessed that this man was about to orchestrate the most daring and mysterious crime in the history of aviation. Shortly after the plane was in the air, Cooper handed a folded note to Florence Schaffner, a 23-year-old flight attendant. Thinking it was just a lonely traveler giving her his phone number, she dropped the note into her purse without reading it. Cooper leaned closer and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Startled, she opened the note, which was written in neat, all-capital letters. It stated that he had a bomb in his briefcase and demanded she sit beside him. When she did, Cooper opened his briefcase just enough for her to see 8 red cylinders attached to wires and a large battery. His demands were clear: $200,000 in negotiable American currency, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane upon arrival. When the pilot, Captain William Scott, informed the authorities, the FBI immediately scrambled to meet the hijackers' demands. For the next 2 hours, Flight 305 circled the Seattle-Tacoma area to give the police and FBI time to gather the cash and the parachutes. Inside the cabin, Cooper remained remarkably calm, almost polite. He paid his drink tab and even insisted that the flight crew be served meals. When the plane finally landed in Seattle, it was dark and raining. Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers for the knapsack of money and the parachutes. Once the passengers were safe, Cooper ordered the remaining crew to fly him toward Mexico City with very specific instructions. The plane must fly below 10,000 feet. The landing gear must remain down, and the wing flaps must be set at 15 degrees to keep the speed slow. Around 8 p.m., while the plane was flying through a heavy storm somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Cooper ordered the crew into the cockpit. A warning light flashed in the cockpit. The aft stairs had been lowered. The pilot asked over the intercom if Cooper needed help, to which he simply replied, "No." At approximately 8:13 p.m., the crew felt a sudden upward surge of the aircraft's tail. Cooper had jumped. He stepped off the stairs into a freezing 200-mile-per-hour wind, plunging into a pitch-black wilderness of pine trees and jagged mountains during a torrential rainstorm. He wore only his suit and a parachute. He had no survival gear, and the temperature at that altitude was well below zero. When the plane eventually landed safely in Reno, the FBI stormed to the cabin, but Cooper was gone. All that remained were his black tie, a tie clip, and 2 of the 4 parachutes. What followed was one of the most extensive manhunts in American history, titled Norjack. For months, agents and soldiers searched the rugged terrain of the Pacific Northwest. They interviewed hundreds of people and tracked the serial numbers of the $20 bills given to him. Despite their efforts, they found no trace of Cooper, his parachute, or the money. He had vanished into thin air, becoming a ghost in the American woods. The case went cold for 9 years until 1980, when an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was vacationing with his family on the banks of the Columbia River. While digging in the sand to build a campfire, he discovered 3 rotting bundles of cash, nearly $6,000, that matched the serial numbers of the ransom money. This was the first and only physical evidence ever found outside the plane. The discovery sparked new hope, but it also raised more questions. The money was found miles away from the suspected jump zone, leading experts to wonder if Cooper had died in the river or if the money had simply washed away from his body. In 2016, after 45 years of investigation and over 1,000 suspects, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case. Theories continue to haunt the public imagination. Was he a former paratrooper named Richard McCoy? Or a quiet family man named Sheridan Peterson? Some believe he died the moment he hit the freezing air, while others are convinced he lived a long life under a new identity, laughing at the world. Today, the legend of D.B. Cooper remains the only unsolved skyjacking in commercial aviation history, a story of a man who challenged the system, took a leap of faith, and disappeared forever into the dark American night.